You didn't find this video by accident. You clicked it because something inside you is done being average, done pretending, done waiting. You're tired of the lies you've told yourself. And now you're finally ready to face the truth. Because the moment you're ready to change, the pain of staying the same finally becomes heavier than the fear of growth. This is that moment. This is your sign. And if you've got the guts to stay with me, you'll never see your life the same again. Change doesn't ask for your permission. It doesn't wait until you're comfortable. It knocks when you're tired, when you're frustrated, when you're broken down enough to realize that something has to shift. The truth is, nobody is coming to push you. Nobody's going to hand you the life you want. If you want change, you have to be the one who takes the first step. You have to stop waiting for clarity and start creating it through action. The longer you sit in hesitation, the deeper you sink into regret. Change begins the moment you stop saying one day and start saying now. It's not about being ready. It's about being done with where you are. Done with excuses. Done with comfort. Done playing small. That's when real change begins. Take the story of Kareem, a 23-year-old who spent years talking about starting a fitness journey. He watched every video, followed all the fitness influencers, bought workout gear, but never really started. One day, after seeing a photo of himself that shook him, something clicked. He didn't sign up for a fancy gym. He didn't make a public announcement. He just got on the floor and did push-ups, bad ones. Then the next day he did more. Within 3 months, he'd lost 25 pounds and gained a mindset he never had before. Why? Because he stopped waiting and started moving. Change doesn't need an audience. It needs a decision. You don't need the perfect moment. You need a made-up mind. If you're tired of being stuck, stop waiting for permission. Give it to yourself. Stand up and take the first step. You don't need a plan to change your life. You need to be sick enough of your own excuses to finally do something about it. Pain is often seen as something to avoid, something to numb or escape. But pain is not your enemy. It's your indicator. It shows up when something needs to change. Most people run from it, cover it up, or pretend it doesn't exist. But the truth is, pain is the doorway to transformation. When you stop running from it and start listening to it, you realize it's pushing you toward growth. Pain doesn't show up to break you. It shows up to wake, to remind you that you're built for more. Every great comeback, every major transformation starts with discomfort. The ones who win are the ones who use their pain as fuel, not chains. There's a story of a woman named Rhea who struggled with anxiety for most of her 20s. She kept hiding it behind smiles and busyness, but one night, during a panic attack, she finally broke down and said out loud, "I can't keep living like this." That moment, though terrifying, was the turning point. She didn't numb it. She didn't hide. She sat with the pain, owned it, and decided to rebuild. She started therapy, cut off toxic relationships, and committed to daily practices of self-care and growth. That same pain she once feared became the fire that helped her rise. Change doesn't always begin with inspiration. It begins with agitation, with discomfort that becomes too loud to ignore. If you're hurting, don't run. Lean into it. Let it show you what needs to be healed, rebuilt, or left behind. Because pain, when faced with courage, becomes power. And that power becomes the foundation for a version of you the world has never seen before. You can't step into a new life while clinging to the habits, thoughts, and patterns that built your old one. Change demands sacrifice. You can't expect transformation while still doing the same things that kept you stuck. Growth means letting go. Letting go of comfort, of the people who no longer align with your purpose, and of the excuses that made you feel safe. It's not about talking different. It's about living different. You cannot enlist your life on others' purpose. And about living different. It's about living different. Living different. You cannot enlist your life on others' purpose. And the purpose of this book, living different. It's about living different. It's about living different. You can't level up if you're still operating like the old version of yourself. The truth is, change costs something, but so does staying the same. And the price of staying the same is your potential. There's a story about Elijah, a man who wanted to start his own business. Every year, he said, this is the year. But he kept hanging out with the same crowd, wasting weekends, overspending, and ignoring discipline. He expected change without actually changing. Finally, after getting passed over for a promotion again, he realized the pattern wasn't luck, it was him. So he got serious. He stopped going out, invested in learning, built a schedule, and held himself accountable. Within 12 months, his side hustle became a full-time business. But it didn't happen until he stopped trying to hold on to who he was and committed to who he was becoming. If you want something you've never had, you must become someone you've never been. That means releasing the version of you that's comfortable, average, and hesitant. The new version requires new discipline, new energy, new environments. You can't transform your life without transforming yourself first. Change isn't something you wait for, it's something you become. So ask yourself, what do I need to let go of to grow? Because your future is waiting, but it can't move forward while you're holding on to your past. Your mind is the real battleground. Before anything changes in your life, it must first change in your thoughts. Everything you do, every habit you build, every decision you make, it all begins in your head. If your mindset is weak, your life will follow. You can have all the talent, all the opportunity, all the tools, but if you keep telling yourself, I can't, I'm not enough, I'm not good enough, or it's too hard, you'll stay stuck. Real change begins when you take control of what you feed your mind. Start replacing doubt with discipline. Replace fear with belief. Speak strength into yourself even when you don't feel it, especially then, because what you say to yourself matters more than what the world says about you. Take the example of Maya, a college student who always felt like an outsider. And then provoke you to innovate and grow. And so I think about this often. And so I think about, she believed she wasn't smart enough, so she never raised her hand. She believed she wasn't a leader, so she avoided every opportunity. Her life stayed small because her thinking was small. One day, a mentor told her, if you change the story in your head, you'll change your life. So she did. Every day, she started writing affirmations. She started visualizing success. She acted like the person she wanted to become before she ever felt ready. 6 months later, she led a student organization, graduated with honors, and got accepted into her dream program. The only thing that changed first, her mind. If you want to change your life, you have to win the war inside your head. Train your thoughts like you train your body. Guard what you allow in. Encourage yourself daily, because when your mind is strong, nothing outside of you can break you. You are powerful. Your next level starts with one shift. Believe differently, think differently, live differently. Discipline isn't punishment. It's the highest form of self-respect. When you choose discipline, you're choosing to care more about your future than your current comfort. It's not about being perfect every day. It's about showing up when you don't feel like it. Discipline is saying, I'll do it anyway. It's getting up early, sticking to the plan, doing the work, especially when no one is watching. Motivation may give you a spark, but discipline is what keeps the fire alive. It's what separates talkers from doers, dreamers from achievers. Every time you stay consistent, even in silence, you're showing love to your future self. You're saying, I believe in who I'm becoming. Take the story of Ray, a guy who always wanted to run a marathon but hated running. He was never the athletic type, and he gave up easily. But one day, something shifted. He set a date, made a plan, and committed. The first week, he wanted to quit. Every part of his body hurt, but he kept showing up. Every morning at 6 a.m., rain or shine. He tracked his progress, stayed off social media, and stopped talking about it. Instead, he became it. Months later, he crossed the finish line, not because he was the fastest or the strongest, but because he was the most consistent. His secret? Discipline. You don't have to feel ready. You don't have to feel strong. You just have to be willing to show up again and again. That's how change happens. Not in one big leap, but in small, repeated steps you take, even when your body screams no. Discipline is love in action. It's the quiet grind that builds loud results. If you want to grow, you don't need hype, you need habits. Change doesn't come from outside. It doesn't come from a new job, a new city, or a new year. It comes from a decision, one internal, personal, powerful decision where you finally say enough is enough. Until that moment, you'll keep circling the same patterns, chasing surface level solutions to deep rooted problems. But the moment you decide to take full responsibility for your life, everything begins to shift. Your environment may stay the same at first. The people around you may not change, but you change. And when you change, your energy changes, your choices change. And eventually, your life catches up to the decision you made. There's a story about Sarah, a single mom working 2 jobs and stuck in a cycle of burnout. For years, she felt like life was happening to her. She waited for luck, for relief, for someone to notice her effort. But one night, after another long shift and a pile of unpaid bills, she looked at herself in the mirror and said, "This ends with me." That decision hit different. She didn't have a roadmap. She didn't have all the answers, but she started small, budgeted better, studied late at night, applied for better roles, and started building a side hustle. In 2 years, she wasn't just surviving, she was thriving. What changed? Her mindset, her decision to no longer be a victim of her circumstances. You don't need the perfect conditions to change your life. You need clarity. You need a decision so strong that it drowns out excuses. So if you're waiting for a sign, this is it. You are the turning point. The next level is already inside you, but it doesn't come alive until you decide This is who I am now. This is where it changes. And then you act like it every day. You saw this video for a reason. You found it because you're finally ready. Not ready to talk about it, not ready to dream about it, but ready to be about it. This isn't motivation. This is your moment. This is your wake-up call. So stand up, show up, and change for real this time. Because once you do, the world won't even recognize the beast you're about to become. You'll see this when you're ready to change. And now that you've seen it, there's no turning back.